Hi, people. One more reminder that we are having a retreat. Our fall retreat for 2020 will be carried online at Angel City Zen Center. Go to aczc.org for info on how to join that. Everybody's invited to join. Also, aczc.org has all the information on our various programs that we do, all carried online. Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, that's tonight, and Saturdays, and maybe others I don't even know about. Okay, good. So, I wanted to talk to you about something that I don't know. I think I did this one before, but I'm going to do it different again, and it's don't waste your life. And when you go to a Zen temple, just about anywhere in the world where there are Zen temples, there's an instrument there called a han. And a han is kind of a wooden board that is beaten to wake people up. In the morning when it's time to go to Zazen, they hit this thing. So the wake up is usually a bell, and the han is usually to tell you to come to Zazen. And sometimes it tells you other things, but they hit it like that. Okay. And on this board is written a specific verse that has a lot of different translations. So if you go to a place where they speak English, like the United States of America or England or Australia or somewhere, you will find it usually written in English. The more or less standard translation of it is, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes by swiftly and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken, take heed, do not squander your life. But a more literal translation is, great is the matter of birth and death, life slips by quickly, to waste time is a great shame, time waits for no one. And I went online and I found a few pictures of the Han written in Japanese and in English, and not as many as I'd hoped to find. But one thing that's in common with all of them is this phrase, don't waste a moment, don't waste time, don't waste your life. And when I look at it in actual Japanese, or in the actual characters, they break down as like this. Shojin, life and death. Jidai, great matter. And then the second line is a kind of a set phrase. Mujo jinsoku, life passes swiftly. And the third line is koin, which is translated by the dictionaries that I looked up, time or father time. And the next character combination, two characters, atara, which means regrettably. And then the last four are ji, time, fu, not, matsu, wait, and hito, person. But there's all this complicated stuff about how you'd pronounce those characters in Sino-Japanese and all this weird stuff. And it probably doesn't matter to most people who are watching this, but, write me if you want to know, and I'll tell you what I know about that. The Han is, as I said, hammered to call you to Zazen, usually, or for other purposes. And the deal with it is you just keep hammering on the thing with a wooden hammer until it breaks in half, or breaks into more than half, which is why when you see them, they usually have like a big hole in the middle of them. It's to emphasize this idea of passing time and not wasting time. The phrase don't waste time is not exactly in there. It directly translates into something more like the passage of time is regrettable, so I guess that could be taken as don't waste time. Now, when I first started hearing this, when I was a little sprout, just starting out to get into Zen, this phrase, don't waste your life, or don't waste time, was really heavy to me. It reminded me of that video by Twisted Sister where the dad comes in and yells at the kid, "What do you want to do with your life?" That kind of thing. That's the image I got from it. It's like some big guy yelling at me, "What are you gonna do with your life?" That kind of thing. I know I did this video before, but anyway, forget that other video, or maybe it was good, but I'm doing a different one now. Anyhow, it was real heavy on me. And I think the idea of not wasting time was something that was sort of hammered into me as part of my upbringing, because I was brought up, I lived, as most of you who watch this know, I lived 4 years of my life in Africa, but most of the rest of my childhood I lived in Akron, Ohio, and Akron, Ohio is a real blue-collar working city where the idea of wasting time would be like you're supposed to be at a job, and your job starts from 9 a.m. and goes to 5 p.m. and you clock in and you clock out and you do all this stuff, and it's very structured, so if you're wasting time or not, because the boss will tell you you're wasting time. But I'm not sure that's what the Buddhists meant. In fact, I'm sure that's not what the Buddhists meant. It took me a while to, because of that upbringing, get used to the lifestyle that I have today. Because, from, let's say, 1980, it was long ago, when I was in high school and got my first job, until 2008, end of 2008, I had jobs that had set hours and set times and bosses, and everybody was kind of, knew what was supposed to be done. Well, certain jobs were better at that than others, but, there was a certain set of rules you had to follow, and you understood what your time was being spent on. And end of 2008, I was asked by Tsuburaya Productions if I would come back to Japan and work a nice job there and have a set salary, which was pretty good, what they were offering me, and have a position of actual authority within the company. They were promising me all sorts of things, but I'd started on this Zen career, and it just seemed like the wrong thing to do. Financially speaking, it was definitely the right thing to do, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But as far as what I wanted to do with my life, it wasn't the right thing to do. I wanted to do something that I thought was more valuable and more important overall, and more of a contribution to the world. Basically this, writing these books, making these videos, walking around the world like Kane from Kung Fu, I don't know that line from Pulp Fiction, dispensing eternal cosmic wisdom and all that nonsense. I thought that was more important. But this idea of not wasting your life is an interesting one, because in the Hindu and Buddhist cosmology, I don't know if cosmology is the word, but the idea is that to be born as a human being is the best way to awaken to the truth of the universe, and that it is a very rare thing, that you could go for millions and billions and zillions of years being born as various other things before you get, I don't know what that noise is, before you get the chance to be born as a human. And this doesn't just mean lower things, like I was just watching a squirrel over there, or a lizard, or Ziggy the dog, or things that we consider to be lower forms of life, or plants, things like that. It also refers to higher forms of life that exist within that mythology, gods and devas and things like that. Even to be born as one of those higher forms of life is not as good as being a human, because if you're born as too high of a form of life, or a higher than a human form of life, everything's too easy for you, and you never have enough difficulty to realize that awakening is something you even want to do. Goes like that. And so you shouldn't waste your life doing things that don't lead to, or don't aim you in the direction of awakening. To me, what does that mean? To me, it means practicing Zazen every day. It means working on the work that I do of trying to explain the practice of Zazen to people, making these videos, doing all that stuff. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that to everyone. But the idea is that you don't miss this opportunity that you have by, for example, squandering it on trying to aggrandize this sort of temporary person that you are, to make yourself richer, more beautiful, more popular, more famous, all this stuff. That would be squandering your life, or just kind of doing whatever needs to be done to get through it. Just sitting there playing video games all day or whatever. That would be kind of wasting your life too. So that's what it means to me, and I feel like that video was kind of all over the place, but I hope you got something out of it. Please come to our retreat. That would be a good way to not waste time. And if you don't want to waste time not sending me a donation, you can send me a donation at the address that you're seeing below, or that URL that you're seeing below, hardcorezen.info/donate. That is how I make my living. That's how I keep Ziggy fed and everything like that. So I really appreciate it. If you're having big financial difficulties, you don't have to donate to me, because I'm hanging in there, but it's because of you people who do donate that I am hanging in there. So I thank you very much. Have a good time all the time. See you later. Bye.